Hey everyone! In today's tutorial I'm going to make a quick Get Well card for a friend of mine using this Stampin' Up! Get Well Soup stamp and Chameleon markers. Now to begin with, I'm just going to ink up this stamp in Memento. Chameleon markers are alcohol-based markers, so you need to use an alcohol-friendly ink, which Memento is. And this one happens to be a wood mount stamp, but if you visit my blog post, I'm going to tell you how to convert these for your MISTI. This is a large stamp and I would have liked to be able to stamp it twice to get it perfectly inked. So I'll just have a quick tip for you over there on how to convert with no stress. Now, Chameleon markers are designed to do one pen blending, but they also have a brush tip and a bullet tip just on the regular marker that you can use just like you'd use any alcohol marker. And you'll see me starting with a light pink here and leaving a lot of white space in the middle. I like to do this on round objects that I'm coloring because once I go over with the darker color on top, that white that I've left shows through and becomes just an easy way to get a little bit of reflection in the center of the cup in this case. And I'm going to add some shading at the edge. I do like to leave the little feathery lines as well. That's another thing that I think adds some realism to a round shape. So I'm just blending basically 3 colors out of this set. What's nice about these pens is they do come in color coordinated sets. This is the floral set. And you can see how well that sort of blue-violet makes shadows on the pink tones, and they, of course, would look great as flowers. But I thought it would be fun on this big cup to use these as well. And then the one pen blend with Chameleon is achieved with the little mixing chamber that has the toner in it. And you just touch the tips together to get the toner into the brush side of the pen or the bullet, whichever you're using. And then you can see as I start to color, it's a very, very light brown. This is actually the bark marker. I was going to kind of make this coffee instead of soup. And as I color, the toner fades out a bit, and you can see the ink coming back into the marker. And this is how you get the one pen blend. So I started in the center so that that's where my lightest part would be. And as it starts to come back, I use the darker at the edges and then add a little bit more and come back and lighten up the center and blend those two together until I like how dark it is. And now I have the cup the way I want it, but I wanted to add a little bit of pink to these hearts at the top. And the tip on these is very, very fine, so you can get in these small spaces, and I like that. I am using my Versa marker and some clear embossing powder, and I'm going to accent the heart in the center of the cup. And again, because I wasn't using my MISTI, I didn't really like that this wasn't a deep dark black. And so I want to go over it and make it raised and shiny with the Versa marker. In printing, they call this a spot gloss. So I'm going to give myself a spot gloss on that heart. So now I can just heat that up. I got good coverage on that. And because they're alcohol markers and I'm not watercoloring, I don't have an issue with stray embossing powder around the heart. It very neatly stuck just to where I wanted it to stick. And that'll give me just the pop I need on that nice solid image. So that's all set. And then now I notice that in comparison, the spoon needs a little help. But first, I'm actually going to go over it with that pink because it's hard to see on camera, but you can see a difference between where the pink marker is on the hearts and a little bit out into that black and where it's not. And so it just made this spoon look more even and uniform than without coloring on top of the black with the pink. So I'm going to do the same thing, just to add Versamark on there. And I'm using the bullet tip on the Versamarker because this image is actually pretty small. And then just add a little bit of embossing powder to that. And again, I don't have an issue with stray anything because the alcohol dries immediately. And then I'll just heat emboss that. Give it a little spot gloss on those two elements, which looks pretty cool. And finish up my card. So head over to my blog to see my little tip about the Misty. And thanks so much for watching.